the long-awaited gameplay reveal from Dragon Age The Veilguard, previously known as dragonagedreadwolf, and they went through a rename, did a reveal, a cinematic trailer during the Xbox showcase, and then they're doing their gameplay reveal today. So really excited to check this out with you. If you're watching the past broadcast, you can see over there in the corner, skip ahead by 25 minutes to when this premieres. And we'll watch it. We're hearing it's about 20 minutes. We're hoping that it's a pretty extensive look at gameplay. There's been a lot of negative feedback about this game already. Basically, people are saying that it looks like Fortnite, and they don't like the direction that the art has gone. And we're hearing from people that have actually seen the game, have actually been up close to it, maybe even had hands-on, that they are very, very pleased with it. So we're going to be checking this out. May rewatch it a couple of times. And if you are also interested in my thoughts on Ubisoft Forward yesterday, the Assassin's Creed Shadows gameplay, Star Wars Outlaws gameplay, even the deep dives after, sort of getting into the meat of what's going on there, I will be doing a second show today, breaking that down with Kirk from What's New Video Games. He's a big Ubisoft guy. He likes Skull and Bones, which I did not. I didn't even play it. I just had no interest in it when I saw the trailers. So be sure to check that out. That'll follow this as well. And we're already starting off the day really strong. You guys are insane. Han shot first, and so did you. Mike on the mic coming in with the first gifted member of the day, but then a second one comes in from Stonespire. You guys are crushing, absolutely crushing the weekly goal. You only need 400 members to make me play a scary game on a Friday night, and you already have 276. So unbelievable start to the week, and you guys are getting us incredibly close to that. And then if you get a stretch goal, I don't just play a scary game, but my wife can mess with me when I play the scary game, and you guys seem to really enjoy that the last time that we did that. I kind of get into the scary games, especially when they're VR, because you can't see what people are doing around you. So, you know, for fans of Dragon Age, this is long awaited. You know, Dreadwolf kind of leaked, and everybody was hoping that we would know, you know, more about it. And then they went to a name change, which I'm not too thrilled with the name. I thought Dreadwolf and Veilguard, I think they're both, like, obviously the types of words that people misspell when they go to search for them, which is always an interesting experiment when you're, you know, making YouTube videos and titling things. So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Guys, thank you so much for being here. Make sure and smack that like button. A little bit of a late start for us today. We really didn't have time to do a show before this. It wouldn't have fit. I didn't want to stream for like 1 hour and then do this and then hop over to Kirk. So instead of me telling you what I thought about Ubisoft Forward by myself, we just decided to kind of roll that into a show with Kirk. Did I like Switchback? Switchback was actually pretty good. It was pretty fun. It was pretty intense. She got a couple good jump scares out of me. We might have to pick something else. I don't know how many scary VR games there are, but we can, you know, I believe we can use the PSVR 2 now on the PC. If not, I have my MetaQuest 3. We could always hook that up, I believe, to the PC to use. If you guys feel like there's really good scary VR games worth checking out. The Dragon Age fan base won't get it wrong. In what direction do you mean Therapy Quantified? Do you think they're being, you know, too quick to judge it? Do you think that they're going to decide that they like it? Where do you land on that? I don't have a strong opinion on art style until I actually see the game. Like, cinematics can certainly kind of show you the art style of a game. I have said recently we need to get away from everything kind of looking like Fortnite. I felt like Wayfinder sort of fell prey to that. If you really carve out your own art style, you don't have to worry about those comparisons, because we've had a lot of games come out that do seem to emulate the character, world, and color palette of like a Fortnite, and I think that's starting to rub people the wrong way. Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach. Can you play that VR? What's good, Solomon? How are you? Good morning to everybody. Thanks so much for coming in. I appreciate you guys. The Dragon Age fan base. You're as a Dragon Age fan, I'm concerned, says the anime Zoe. Yeah, you got. Feel free to weigh in. What are you primarily concerned about? Is it the art direction? Is that what you're worried about? Lone Wolf says fans overreacted. Therapy says it's a CGI trailer. Well, I mean, I think this is a challenge that we're going to continue to run into. Trailers are certainly setting a tone, right? We went through that with Avowed. Everybody claimed that first trailer, nobody was supposed to expect the game to look like that. There was a big debate about that. There's been a debate recently about what is gameplay. There's been a debate about what is in-engine, what is real-time, like all these terms that I think developers maybe understand really well in-house, but we as the consumers are sort of like, we don't know what any of that means. All we know is that for the last decade or so, you show us trailers that you claim are in-engine or in-game, and then the game ends up looking very different. Or you have a cinematic trailer like this, and it's like, is this cinematic trailer meant to convey to us what the game will look like? I actually think it should. I do. I think when you've seen the cinematic trailers of Fable, it's like, I'm expecting the game to look like that, especially when they're going right from cinematics right into what is simulated gameplay. It's like, you're basically telling me the game's going to look like that. So I don't know why you would do character design and faces and voices and all of this if that's not what the game is going to look like. And I don't care that it looks like that, right? I don't care, but I think that it's perfectly fine. What looked like Fortnite? The fans were saying that the Dragon Age cinematic looked like Fortnite. They thought that the art direction was bad. Inquisition at least felt dark and almost haunted at times. This just felt light and silly. Now, that I'll agree with. I have not played Dragon Age Inquisition for a very long time, and I will admit that Dragon Age Inquisition felt more in line with a game like Skyrim in tone than, like, the tone of this was very, like you're saying, very silly. It did. Guys, make sure as you're coming in, go through that morning ritual. Almost 300 people here already. A little bit of a different day for us. Smash that like button. It'll help more people find this video. We can get a nice little crowd in here to check out this gameplay and discuss it together. This feels like Clash of Clans. So, okay, so you think the trailer doesn't just feel like Fortnite. You think it feels sort of like the juvenility of like a Clash of Clans, like their trailers are kind of goofy and silly. This game has been cooking for a decade, says Anime Zoe. BioWare needs a win. They should have come out swinging. So far, I am not impressed and hope to be proven wrong. See, here's the thing that I wonder sometimes. I'm not a diehard Dragon Age guy. I remember I got into Dragon Age Inquisition, and I can't remember why. Maybe a friend of mine told me about it or something. And that was like my first Dragon Age game. And I remember thinking it was fine, and I remember enjoying it. I don't even know if I finished it. I think it got a little too long and grindy for me. Back then, I wasn't really a big RPG guy. Even today, I prefer more of an action game with RPG elements. I don't necessarily prefer the long tooth RPG like a Baldur's Gate 3. I think Baldur's Gate 3 looks phenomenal. It's just, not my style of game. It also is different now. I'm in a different place in life where I can't play as long. So when I have a shorter window of time, I need to be able to play for an hour and actually have something transpire, actually have things kind of move forward instead of feeling like, well, I played for an hour, another 48 hours to go before I finish this game. That just doesn't work for me where I am right now, in my personal life. So the allotted time I have for gaming very much dictates some of the types of games that I'm gravitating toward. And I don't think I was approaching this trailer or this game with expectations. I think that's why I thought the trailer was dope. I was like, that was cool. I thought the characters were neat. I like the silly, goofy vibe. I think Marvel and Guardians of the Galaxy especially has really impacted sort of the mod squad comedy of these types of games. You throw a group of people together and they're kind of, joking back and forth, and they're being lighthearted in the midst of chaos. We saw this with Concord. I think we've seen this with Dragon Age The Veilguard. I think a lot of people have been heavily influenced, or at least minorly influenced, by things like Guardians of the Galaxy. If you remember the opening to the one Guardians movie, they're all laughing and joking and there's music playing. They don't seem to be taking it serious. They don't seem to be genuinely scared of this giant monster. And there's a lot of games that are doing that now, and I think it's just rubbing people the wrong way, which is really unfair, because when this cinematic was created and this idea was born, it was probably years ago, before anybody had an idea that people would be getting a little tired of, like, the quirky, self-aware humor, Aaron Wright with 18 months on a Member Plus. What up? We be covering V Rising on the PS5. I really liked V Rising with my limited time that I spent on it, so maybe I'm just not really a survival game guy. I end up playing them for a little bit, and then I usually just get a little burned very quickly. I liked V Rising. I did. And I liked Valheim when I played it with Hilly. And I've liked No Man's Sky every time I've played it. They just don't stick. They don't stick with me. They end up kind of sliding off the table. I've been really enjoying Lies of P. I'm so glad I got back into that. I swear they either made Perfect Parry tighter and more responsive, or like somebody said, Stellar Blade, for whatever reason, has made me feel like I'm better at Lies of P. I'm really having a good time with it. Right now I'm working on a build where I want to increase my carrying capacity so I can have like these 2 amulets that I think are going to be really helpful. One increases damage after a perfect block, and the other increases damage for every one of your blue bars that are filled. And I was like, that's going to be awesome. But it switched me up in weight class to slightly heavy, and I would like to get that back down again. So right now I'm trying to get quartz to open up another amulet spot, and then I'm trying to level up so I can increase my carrying capacity, because I feel like that'll make me pretty beastly. Just reading over the development history, says Derek. And you're saying, holy, what, in a good way or a bad way? Yo, Danny with 26 months of memberships, welcome back. Thank you so much. I want to read some of your feedback here. Nightfire says, the issue's not the art style, it's the tone. The tone's all off. The art's not cartoony, but they are doing the Guardians of the Galaxy tone, and that's not what Dragon Age has ever been. Matt says, longtime Dragon Age fan, I just watched the trailer, big turnoff with the tone and the art. Well, the point that I was driving at, I don't think I made my point that I started out wanting to make this point, and I think I ended up getting sidetracked. The reason I was bringing up myself, and the reason that I said, I didn't come out with expectations, I wonder if the broader audience is going to find this more approachable. Like, there's a bigger gaming world now than just the fans of your franchise. And I wonder if when they position a game the way that they did, are they attempting? Now, this could blow up in their face. I'm not saying this is the right plan. I'm just trying to diagnose maybe what they're doing. Maybe they're trying to go for the broader audience. Maybe they're trying to go for the less serious, more casual gamers that are going to find a game like that more approachable, more lighthearted. We've talked about this with MMOs in general, and I think people are, the New World crowd is very irritated with the fact that they've gotten like no updates and no info, and now they're bringing the game to console, and they're positioning New World as an action RPG, which is incredibly interesting. They're not calling it an MMO on their, frequently asked questions. They're positioning it as an action RPG that you can play solo. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, that's a big change. But again, this is what I said when New World came out. I said, I think you're going to see a rise. I think you're going to see a rise in the more casual RPG, the more casual MMOs, because all of the guys and gals that played these games when, EverQuest burst onto the scene and World of Warcraft took off, I think a lot of those people are now in another stage of life. They're either married, maybe they're more career-oriented, maybe they have children, and I just think they're like, listen, I can't play for 9 hours a day like I used to. I can play your game for a couple hours of night, maybe. Maybe some nights I can only play for an hour, but I think a lot of people are in that stage now. We're all older. Like, we have things to do, and we can't play. I can't give you my life. I can't do that. You also have to remember that when EverQuest and World of Warcraft, were kind of hitting their peak, they weren't competing with a sea of games that wanted you to play all day, every day. There's the ongoing games. There's the live service games. There's the games with the FOMO, and you can't miss out. You got to keep playing. And I think a lot of people are starting to look at games now and saying, listen, I can't give you a life commitment. I can't turn you into like a side piece on my life. Like, you're supposed to be an act of leisure for me, not a commitment. And so I think more and more now, you're going to see people who are making RPGs and MMOs attempting to appeal to the more casual gamer. Not that you're casual in your skill, but you just don't have the time anymore to give to games like you used to. When you were a kid, you had no time for games. Listen, you might not be in that bucket, but I'm telling you, most of the gaming world is above the age of 28, and I'm here to tell you, a lot of us are at that stage of life where we're like, bro, I don't want to give a significant chunk of my literal life and hours to a video game. Even if you're single and you don't have a lot of these commitments, I still think people have just lost a taste and a palate for, I got to play 8 hours a day. I just think people have moved on from that. Not everybody, but I think in large portions, the gaming community has become more casual. You could look at that as good or bad. I think that's going to dictate the design of games. That's going to dictate how they position games. That could be good or bad depending on how you look at it. I'm 44 and I'm still single. Being single really has its biggest advantages. Eugene says, this looks way more cartoony than I expected. Yeah, with a name like Dreadwolf especially, and now Veilguard, it certainly sounds a little bit more serious and a little bit more ominous. Creature says, I had 0 times for gaming when I was young. Yeah, and now some people have way more time, for sure. I only have an hour a day. My days off are when I can actually play a good chunk. Yeah. And even if you can give a game a lot of time, I feel like more and more when I talk to gamers, they're like, dude, I don't want to give you a commitment, right? I'm not trying to put a ring on it. It's a video game, right? Like, I'm trying to play and enjoy myself, but I've got other things I want to do. I've got other games I want to play. There's so many games coming out. Did you see the ocean of games from July to like September? It's insane. It's like you don't have time for all of them. Good night. Allie says, Dragon Age is for the casual gamer, though. It shouldn't change what it's great at. You think Dragon Age Inquisition was a casual game? I felt like that was a pretty expansive game. I don't feel like it was inaccessible or unapproachable, but I feel like Dragon Age Inquisition, my memory of it was pretty serious. Like, it had a lot to it. It had a lot of depth. It didn't feel casual to me, but I don't know. My memory is that's faded. You know, I'm 42. I don't know how long ago I played that, you know, over 10 years ago. I'm pretty sure I played that before I became a streamer. I don't even know what era of time I played that in my gaming history. It depends on the audience, says Elemental Hero. If people are playing the games and the sequels and the younger audience won't understand and they'll want to play the older games to understand the franchise. Maybe. Oh, I misread what you said, Allie. I apologize. You said it wasn't for the casual. Let me go back and read that. Dragon Age is not for the casual gamer, though. It shouldn't change what it's great at. I apologize. Like, chat sometimes moves while I'm reading and I miss words. Sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, they shouldn't change what it's good at. Okay, well, here's the thing. Let's take a look at the gameplay, and let's see if you feel like the depth is there. I understand the tone turning people off. I do. And if that is a, you know, if that's a problem, then so be it. But here's something I'm growing more and more concerned with in the gaming world. I'm growing concerned with the preemptive death sentence that we keep doing. People who did that with, Assassin's Creed Shadows. They suddenly did it with, Star Wars Outlaws, and it seems like the gameplay now for both of those games is turning the tide a little bit. Like, people seem to be being a little bit more favorable to them. But we're doing these preemptive death sentences, and it's like, goodness gracious, like, we've been waiting all this time for these games, and you're just immediately like, woke, trash, stupid, cheesy, dumb, DOA, fail, and it's like, oh my word, it's like from a trailer, that's it? Like, I'll judge a game by its trailer and say, hey, where's the gameplay? Where's the real gameplay? Where's the raw gameplay? Why won't you show it to us? I'll raise red flags, but I won't say DOA, dumb, stupid, dead. Now, what did I say about Concord? I'm like, it's a huge risk. I think it faces a potential death. I do. I'm worried about Concord. I've not claimed that it's dead. I'm just like, this is an enormous risk. I uploaded a video about it. I called it a risk, outlined all the reasons that I think it's a risk. I didn't base that off of the trailer. I based that off of the market. I said, the market is going to make it difficult for you to get people to stay in your game. It's going to make it difficult for you to get people to play your game to begin with. You're competing with free-to-play games. You're competing with games that are similar to yours. You're competing with games that are similar to yours that are totally free. So that's me analyzing more of a logistical reality of there's only so many people. There's a lot of other games like this. Live service is incredibly hard. This is a massive risk. This thing could flop. Now, yes, there are people saying it's DOA. I've joked and said, yeah, it'll be fine, like, because I honestly think Concord's going to die. I don't think Concord's going to die because the art style's corny or the characters are silly. I think it's going to face death because of the reality of the industry right now. I don't think they're entering a field that is ripe for harvest. I think they're walking out into a barren wasteland hoping to squeeze blood from a stone. Like, I just think they're going to really struggle to get a player base. I think they're going to struggle to keep a player base. That's a completely different analysis. That's me talking about game type in the economy of gamers right now. Looking at a gameplay trailer like Outlaws or AC Shadows or Dragon Age Veilguard and being like, stupid, dumb DOA. It's like, based on what? Because you don't like it. See the difference? It's like, well, you don't like the art style or the characters or whatever. Stone Spire does 3 singles in a row. He's hoping to tempt a 20-bomb dunker. He takes us to 5 members on the day out of 25. We'll see if anybody takes the bait, Stone Spire. I appreciate you so much, dude. Always doing that. Always gifting those members and bumping the line. It's a shame because Destiny shooter mechanics are peak. Oh, I don't disagree with you. I honestly think that Concord looks fun. I do. I think it looks fun. I think it looks to be enjoyable. My concern is not if they can make the gunplay and the mechanics and the abilities feel good. That's never my concern. They know what they're doing. It's, what are you going to do in the 3rd month to make a 5v5 hero shooter interesting? What are you going to do? It's a meat grinder. You're throwing people on small maps and they're trying to get the thing and the other team's trying to get the thing. Like, I don't think that's compelling anymore. It was only compelling when Blizzard did it, and it was basically the evolution of Team Fortress. Now it's like, we've seen this, we've heard this. You're going to struggle to get a player base. I think that's different than seeing like the art style of a game trailer, or seeing that a samurai is black, or seeing that a character might not be absolutely gorgeous and being like, stupid, dumb, dead, this game's garbage. And it's like, that's not even remotely the same, I don't think, as analyzing Concord and being worried about what Concord's going to do. I was thinking about Shadows when they started showing combat and they dropped beats, immediately broke all immersion. It really is like, it's that it's the Steve Buscemi thing, right? The gif where he's like, hello, fellow kids. That's what that feels like. I get why they had a different vibe for Miles in Spider-Man. Like, his music was a little bit different. His background, his culture, where he lived in the city was different, so it made sense. But when they did it in Assassin's Creed Shadows, I went back and watched it. I was like, yeah, you guys probably shouldn't have done this. This isn't gonna, I think this is gonna get sort of justifiably sort of jeered at and mocked. Like, because the samurai's black, you have to drop beats when he plays? Like, what? It does. It really smacks of like, hello, fellow kids. It's like, hello, black people. Like, you like this kind of music, right? It's like, what the frick? No, that doesn't even make sense. His combat looks remarkable. I think he looks awesome. It's big and heavy. He's wailing on people. I even think his katana swordplay looked good. It looked different when compared to a game like Tsushima. But it was like, yeah, the music was, I don't know what y'all are thinking there. I think that's a bad decision, personally. I think it's a creatively bad decision to do. Yeah, like when Mighty Keith said a 6'2" basketball person. It's like, you know, hello, fellow basketball people. It's like, what are we doing here? I'll turn the music off. Yo, good morning, Detective Seeds. How are you doing, man? How do you feel about Division adding seasonal characters like Diablo? You know what's funny? I'll talk about that. I'm going to talk about that with Kirk. I'm going to save my thoughts for that. If you want to know what I think about Division 2 going the seasonal character route, you'll be interested in my thoughts on that. I'll share those thoughts in the show with Kirk. I'm crying. Listen, that's what it... I do like that kind of music. Well, that's what I'm saying, though, Henry Heck. Like, I know you guys will be surprised to hear this. I am not a black man, okay? I know that's a shock to some of you. You're like, really? But I'm not. And so I can't speak to that experience. But I have to feel that if I was, and I felt like, hey, cool, I'm getting, you know, a really nice character in a game, you know, that looks like me, I'm going to play this game, and then they started playing that music, I would feel a little, I don't know if I'd feel insulted. I think I'd be like, It's like that episode of Seinfeld, but he's like, well, I see a damn fool. That's what I feel, that energy coming up inside of me. I'd be like, you guys are a bunch of damn fools. Like, I don't need this music. You know, like, you don't need to do that. Like, he's a samurai. Like, maybe play music that would sound, you know, justifiable or contextual to the time. You know, feudal Japan. We don't need beats. You know, like, I would feel a little, like, not insulted, but maybe like, hey, man, you don't need to pander to me like that. That feels kind of disingenuous. It feels very, yeah, it feels like you don't really understand me. You know? Like, again, I'm not trying to speak for the black community, but I would definitely feel like, hey, that feels a little insulting. Like, it doesn't really feel like you understand me as an audience member and as a fan. Like, this feels a little silly. Yeah, it doesn't feel insulting. It's unnecessary. Yeah, it's almost like it feels juvenile. It feels juvenile. Like, that's your understanding of our community. Like, that's what you think about us, you know? And I hope I'm not speaking out of turn. I'm trying to be empathetic to both sides. Like, the developers are probably like, this would be really cool. And, like, the one dude in the room, the one black dude in the room is like, yeah, probably not, y'all. Don't do this. And maybe they didn't listen to him. I don't know. You think somebody in the room would have said this is a bad idea, you know? Like, just because you have a character in the game that looks like that doesn't mean that you need to drop beats when he's on screen, you know? It's just a little silly. So, I'm not trying to speak for y'all, but I'm trying to enter the mind of where you all might come from, and that's what I think of. I'm like, yeah, that feels a little panderish, you know? And you don't need to do that, you know? Yo, thank you, Jatoak, for 33 months and a member plus. Looking forward to the reveal. By the way, 80 months over both channels. Pfft, that's a lot of months, man. That's a lot of months. I'm black and I don't like it. I've been waiting for AC Japan for years. What they did was forced virtue. Yeah, I don't think Yasuke is forced virtue. I think he's a unique character. They're linking him to history. I think the way that they're turning him into sort of this thundering boulder of a samurai, I like that. I think it gives him uniqueness within a genre where there's a lot of that already. Like, you can play Ghost of Tsushima, you can play Rise of the Ronin, and I feel like Yasuke is going to have a very interesting take on that type of combat. Like, he literally stabs the guy and, like, picks him up. I love it. It's like he's this brute force of nature. He's not just this super clean, fast samurai, and I think that's going to make him feel very unique, as opposed to, well, it's just another samurai, you know, and he's got swords and maybe some other, you know, gadgets that he can use. Like, I've played that character before. You know, I played that character in Tsushima, and I played a character very much like that in Rise of the Ronin. I think he's going to stand out. We're just saying you didn't need to put, like, hip-hop beats in the music when he's on screen. That's a little weird. That doesn't feel necessary. Hang on, what's Sven saying? Been waiting to hear your Perfect Dark feedback. Game looked really solid after all these years in the dark. I just hope that that's gameplay, or at least that's where gameplay lands, Sven. I thought it looked great. I thought it was a great contextualization of what I remember for Perfect Dark. I think my only, like, maybe complaint would be they should have really done good work to create co-op, like to create engagements and campaign that would work co-op, because that's a memory I have of Perfect Dark. It's not a requirement. It would have been cool. What I saw, I liked. It just very much, the more I've watched it, it very much feels like fully rendered simulated gameplay, which, you know, that's always a bit of a concern, that, like, we're getting something that, you know, maybe it's possible we're getting something that they're forcing, you know, because timelines are getting crunched, you know. Yo, PWH now with a $5 super chat tip. If they're going that route, let me import my own music. Imagine Yasuke killing dudes with Wu-Tang in the background. Or just every time he kills somebody, I need Dave Chappelle to go, Wu-Tang. Anyways, this is getting out of control. Good. The thing's about to start. I can stop talking. Smash the like button. Let's get 200 likes before this starts. Keep those gifted members rolling. We got more shows today after this.
I hope Nev's as good at finding people as you claim.
She's the best damn detective I've ever met. If she says she's got a lead on Solus, I believe her.
Should we be in more of a hurry to get out of here?
We don't want to look conspicuous. Just get out of here nice and casual. Find Nev Gallus and stop Solus.
I think this looks really good. I'm not seeing Fortnite, guys.
You still think you can talk him down before he starts his big ritual?
That ritual is going to tear down the veil. The only thing separating us from the Fade and an endless number of demons. I have to talk him down.
Halt!
Wait! But I didn't do anything!
Get down!
Are they after us? Is it because of the bar?
Word travels fast in Minrathous.
We've got to help her.
We don't have time to get arrested, especially Oh, crap.
We're too late.
The ritual started. But if we hurry, we can still stop Solus before it finishes. Let's go! Harding's this way. She'll get us to Dumont Plaza.
Watch out! Is Solus summoning demons on purpose?
My guess is the veil is weakening, and they're slipping through the cracks.
And when the veil comes down completely?
And the whole world is going to look a lot like this. Come on, this way. It should get us to Harding.
You're safe now. Get inside and bar the door as quick as you can, okay?
Thank you, miss.
Harding, you all right?
I've been doing what I can to help. The ritual must be weakening the veil. There are a lot of scared people out here.
And a lot of demons. Haven't seen this many come through the Fade in years.
What about you two? Are you okay?
We're good, but we need to move.
Agreed. Solus isn't waiting, neither can we.
Have you got my gear?
Right over there. Where's Nev Gallus? Wasn't she at the meeting point?
The Venatori got to her first. They grabbed her before we arrived and paid off the bar owner to keep it quiet.
I'm not surprised our detective did something to piss off a cult of murderous blood mages, but their timing stinks. The bar owner said the Venatori took Nev to Dumont Plaza. Can you get us there, Harding?
Rook, you're with the Shadow Dragons. I figured you'd know Minrathous better than I do.
Sure, but
Huge 20 bomb from Mash.
this is nowhere near my neighborhood. I can try.
Don't worry. Scouting's my specialty. Follow me.
Eyes up. We've got company.
All right, here we go. Here we go. This is what I want to see.
Here they come. I
Okay.
think that's the last of them.
Good. Let's get to Dumont Plaza and find Nev. Patch yourselves up if you need it.
I'm not covering.
I don't get it.
I'm not covering anything. There's nothing down here in the corner.
Destroy everything.
Solus always talked about how beautiful the ancient world was.
That world existed before the Veil, and he wants to bring it back.
Oh, were there skills that popped up? Okay, hang on. Next combat sequence, I'll get out of the way. Sorry. No, nothing's popping up down here.
Venatori cultists!
Yeah, nothing's popping up down here behind me, I promise you. This is...
Looks like the Venatori...
I think it looks good. I think this is really early in the game. He might not have any abilities yet. Like, he just got his sword.
Our fallen brethren!
Look, there's no skills, y'all. There's nothing down here.
All citizens must remain indoors until the magical anomaly is fully contained.
Come on. Guess we're sliding down.
They're allies of Nev Gallus! Kill them all!
Okay, now they're in the middle.
Barictetras! The Venatori own these streets! Venatori, take your revenge!
Alright, hiding. Not the worst timing.
Nev, it's so good to see you. We thought the Venatori had kidnapped you.
They thought the same thing. A lot of Venatori in the city have reason to hate me. Figured I'd play along. Find out who wanted to settle the score this time. Then the sky started raining demons. So I'm back on the job.
Appreciate it. Rook, this is Nev Gallus, our local expert. She's gonna help us find Solus. Nev, meet Rook. Both of you have done some work for the Shadow Dragons.
Isn't that a coincidence?
Some old friends said if I was working in Tevinter, the Shadow Dragons are worth trusting.
Yeah, I like what I'm seeing. Remember, this is alpha, so there's a lot that could clean up. I think it looks fun.
You get right to the point. I haven't seen Solus in person, but I did find hints of old magic, similar to what you get in elven ruins.
I traced it to a building beneath Our Lady of Victory. That's where your man is hiding.
Then let's go, before this ritual he's doing gets any worse.
Worse, this ritual's already drawing more power than I'd expect from a dozen mages. You told me he was working alone.
I also told you he was an ancient elven god.
An elven god.
2025? No, this is coming out this year.
Whatever he is, he's causing trouble in my city. Let's go.
Yeah, I want to see open world stuff because I think a lot of fans are going to say it's very linear right now, and that's okay. This is the opening mission, so let's see more. That's literally the opening like you know, 5 minutes of the game. So let's keep watching.
Well, we're not in Minrathous anymore.
I know these trees. This is Arlethan Forest.
And there's your ritual. The power involved. I've never seen anything like it.
The tremors are getting worse.
And we've got demons.
Yeah, you know, that might be a good question. This might not be open world. It feels very linear set piece driven, which I'm okay with. I actually liked that in Final Fantasy 16.
I thought the demons were bad back in Minrathous.
The Fade's a mess this close to the ritual. No telling what could come through.
Does it feel like those tremors are getting worse?
Keep moving and try not to think about it.
Demon quickly.
Watch the lightning!
Through the veil.
It's a pride demon. Damn thing probably sensed Solus's ego.
Man, use your ability. He's had his ability for like a whole minute. Come on. There you go.
Everyone all right?
Good enough. Let's get to Solus.
Take it from here.
Are you sure?
Positive. You three just keep the demons off me while I talk to him.
Varric, Solus isn't gonna stop just because an old friend asks nicely.
Solus needs someone to sell him another option, to help him justify changing his mind.
Come on, Varric. We didn't come all this way just to talk to him.
He was my friend, Rook. I've gotta try to reach him. But if he won't listen to me, then he'll hear from Bianca.
More demons.
Rook, take care of the team for me. Hey, Chuckles. Hope I'm not interrupting.
Let's buy him some time.
I hope Varric is getting through to Solus.
We better talk fast. We can't hold these demons off forever.
Is this game going to have co-op or the ability to control other people? Like, I feel like that would really help the combat. I think the combat's fine, but like, can I control the other people?
The Veil is a wound inflicted upon this world. It must be healed.
By drowning the world in demons?
I have taken precautions to minimize the damage, Varric.
Minimize the... People are dying right now. You need to listen. Please.
People are always dying. It is what they do.
Shit. We need a better plan.
Do you want me to take the shot?
Won't work. He's too powerful.
What if we disrupt the ritual?
How?
See those statues? If we break the scaffolding holding that one up, the whole thing will come down on Solus.
It's risky. Interrupting a ritual of this scale will have consequences.
And what about the demons? Varric needs us to hold them off.
Right, you two stay here. I'll bring down the statue.
What? No. Stepping into all that raw magic is suicide.
The storm could tear you apart.
Anyone got a better idea?
Fine, but you'll need backup. I'm with you.
I'm a mage. I'll go.
Either way, someone needs to stay back and deal with the demons.
Let's go, Hardy. Nev, keep the demons off us.
You got it.
I ought to take Nev. I ought have taken the mage, dude. She's hardcore.
Stand your hesitance. Whatever now must be done. Being asked to comprehension.
Why tear down the Veil, knowing all the lives it'll cost?
We shared a journey years ago. Do you believe that I would do this if there was some other better option?
The pillar's weak, but
It isn't falling. We need to push it.
I'm with you.
Together, now!
You came a long way and made a valiant effort, Varric, but this story does not end with my downfall.
Push!
I think the problem with what they showed was it's all of that very early gameplay where the player's volition is largely stripped from them. So you don't have a lot that you can do differently than sort of like go here. Okay, swing your sword a couple times. Okay, go here. Okay, do it again. And I think that's always fine. Like the opening 10 minutes of a game is just sort of setting the table. But I think that makes for a not a great showcase because I'm going to let it run behind me here. You don't see a game like Dragon Age. I think they needed to go and do a two-parter. Like, show this opener, sure, but then show me later. I need to see, like, okay, how crazy is combat going to get? Is it always going to be a very sort of linear set piece driven game the way that like Final Fantasy 16 was? Will it have open world environments? Like, I think it looks good. I actually think people jumped ahead of themselves. I think the art and the tone works really well. I know that trailer was a little bit goofy and the game still is a little bit goofy. But I think, like, graphically, art direction wise, I actually think it looks quite good. I think the voice acting's pretty good. Fiona, she literally looks like Fiona from Shrek. I think her voice is probably a bad choice. She looks more like you would expect her to be maybe a little bit more gruff, and instead she sounds like a very, like, young, almost like youthful, naive character, and she doesn't look like that. So I think her voice is a huge mismatch. Other than that, I think the voices are quite good. I think the setup is good. I like what's happening. I'm like, okay, we're going. Oh, you've got to try to stop Solus. Like, I remember him from the last game. Every time you look up Dragon Age, you always see his face, right? But I just think the combat, like, I'm okay with the opening 10 minutes of combat being like that. I'm okay with that. But I think people are going to want to see more. They're going to want to see, like, okay, Can I control the other characters? What does it look like when I control the other characters? What's the depth going on here? Because just watching the main protagonist that they have you playing as here, Rook, just having him swing his sword a handful of times and do some combos. Also, why did you have him play so poorly? It's like he doesn't know how to play. He's not dodging. He's not getting out of the way. He's constantly having his combos disrupted because he apparently doesn't know how to play. I think that was another bad decision. It's like, why would you not have him play well? Make him look awesome. I want to feel awesome when I play a game like this. I don't want to feel like some clumsy derp who keeps getting hit. Like, I don't get why they had him play so poorly. Yeah, and the AI looked kind of free and kind of brain dead. I think that's okay for an opening area. You're just going to button mash your way to the thing. That's how openings like this typically are, right? You're just trying to get to the thing. Like, look at her. She doesn't look like she'd have, like, some very thin, cartoonish, girly voice. Like, she looks like she'd be a little bit gruff, you know, maybe have a thick accent. You know, she's a redhead, and, and give her like that, like almost like a Scottish or an Irish accent or something, and give her like a thicker voice. Her voice is so thin and childish. It doesn't fit the character at all. I think character design's fine, other than the fact that she looks exactly like Fiona Shrek, from Shrek, I mean. So I like the decision making. I think the facial animations are fine. I think they emote, pretty well. I just want to see more of that combat, I want to see like, okay, you have all those abilities that aren't unlocked. Like when he pauses the screen. I want to get to that point too. I want to get to the point where, you're a redhead. Yeah, I mean, I don't. Redheads are crazy. Like, you're crazy. If you're crazy, that's a first step in being a redhead, is knowing that you're crazy. All the redheads I've ever known are crazy. So, like, I just think that they needed to show a little bit more of the combat. Everything else to me was fine, because it's like I'm kind of agreeing with people. Like, the combat felt kind of silly. It felt like a mobile game a little bit. Like, go up to this guy, swing a bunch, automatic combos. Okay, now go to the next guy and do the same thing. You need to see like mid-game gameplay. Yeah, I want to see, because like I feel like, okay, character animations are good, but look, he plays like an absolute derp. He just stands there and lets people hit him a bunch. He keeps getting like stun locked, and then he makes really weird decisions like that. Like, you're gonna back up 5 feet and pull your bow and arrow out. Like, what the frick are you doing? Close the gap and start swinging again. Like, the decision making of the character and the gameplay of the character is so bonkers. Like, why are you doing... He literally just shot a bow and arrow within arm's reach of the enemy. Like, that's just stupid. Why are you playing like that? Look at how much he can close the gap. Like, this part was awesome. That was dope. He jumped back in the action. He hits, he swings, he uses both swords. That was great. Some of the stuff they have him doing is just really, really weird. Okay, so those replenish your potions. Okay, I thought that's what those were there for. FF16 combat was dope. This looked, well, not good. I think this looks simplistic, which is okay for the early stages. One of the things that Final Fantasy 16 demo did so incredibly well was that they let you play the end game, right? They let you play the opening. You're like, okay, I kind of got a feel. This is pretty dope. And then they're like, you have no idea how dope the combat is. We're going to let you play with like a maxed out character. Like, that parry was pretty cool, the range parry that he just did. I like the heads-up display, like the warning that somebody's aiming on you. I think that's great in a game where sometimes ranged enemies can be extremely pesky. So I think some of the interchanges are good, but we need to see that mid to late game combat. Like, what other abilities do you have? Can you control the other characters? Is it going to get significantly more challenging? Like, I thought the boss fight was pretty good. It was a good, like... There was a good sense of, like, agility is needed. There's a lot of spam. There was a lot of lightning. Like, he kind of had to stay on his toes. Like, here he's playing better. Like, he's dodging the range attacks before they come in. There he kind of lets the guy shoot him. But it kind of reminds me of those, the warning shot lines that you get in Spider-Man. Like, warning you you're about to be shot. I don't think this is open world. I don't think it's open world either, Treble Champ. This very much gives me the impression of linear set piece. Like, you're going from one set piece to the next, to the next, to the next. And I'm okay with that. I think it's okay for games to do that. I don't think every game needs to be an open world, right? I don't. So hang on. I want to check something here. So you can navigate. Okay, so behind me, let me get out of the way for just a second so you guys can see here what we're looking at. Let me turn off the controls. Oh, for Pete's sakes. How far are we into this? Okay, 13 minutes. Let me refresh. And then let me get the controls off the screen once we get to 13 minutes. I want to be able to see everything. Oh no, it's not going to be 13 minutes now. It's going to be probably around 9 because where's the big ball? Here we go. All right. I want to take the controls off the screen so that you guys can see. I want to see how they institute this ability. All right. And then I'm going to take the controls off the screen. Okay. Okay, so down here in the corner, I'm circling with my mouse. You've got navigate, change target, select, close, cancel. So obviously, the hope would be that this is going to maybe give you the opportunity to cycle through characters or something. Or maybe you cycle through characters and then you pull this up later, all right? But currently, he only has one ability, all right? And it looks like those 3 abilities are then going to show up at the bottom of the HUD once you select one. So he selects this one here, which is, I forget what it's called, Static Strikes. So it fires 2 bolts, each deals damage independently, but traveling along the same path. I actually think this looks good and sounds good. I think sound design is also pretty crunchy and enjoyable. I think his little dash, like, teleport's also pretty cool. Again, decision-making here is strange. You had the guy on the ropes, and you had him stun-locked. Why are you dodging away and then shooting with the bow? Just very strange. Again, right there, what's the player doing? Why is the player playing like that? That guy had a sliver of health, and you just decided to leave. Like, the decision-making of the player here doesn't make any sense, okay? So he goes over here, he closes the gap, he swings, and he swings. Oh, he's got him. He's one more hit, and then he just decides to leave. I guess maybe he knew an attack was coming in or something. I don't know. This better be on easy mode. I mean, this is literally the opener. This is the opening of the game. You guys have to remember that. Like, they just handed him his sword. So, like, this is quite literally the opening minutes of the game. So, I don't expect the enemies to be insanely hard. They're generally going to be free, and you're going to button mash your way through them to get to the opening, you know, cinematic event that they have planned. Yo, what's good, Siege Master? Hey, guys, make sure you take a second and smash the like button as we do this breakdown. Let me get myself back on, camera here for you guys. Was the camera in Dragon Age always pulled back that far? I'm not actually sure. Yeah, I expect the enemies and the combat in this to be really stupid in the opener because it's literally you're like level 0 at this point, or like level 1. Veilguard is no open worlder, but you can expect hinterlandy areas that are designed for exploration. Okay, so that's what they're saying. It'll be like Dragon Age Inquisition. Yeah, Dragon Age Inquisition had like open areas, but I don't remember it being like an open world game. You could like wander outside of an area and there'd be all these hillsides to scavenge and stuff, but it wasn't like this giant open world where you just would travel from one region to another, you know, with seamless, just like in Skyrim or something. You think this is too close? It's definitely one of those games that I think is probably going to turn off long-standing fans because it does have this feel of like the zoomed-in mobile action game. And, you know, in general, I think those games can be fun. But what I sense here, and this is what I think a lot of people are going to come away from this trailer sensing, is there is a triviality to all of it. It doesn't feel serious. Not every game needs to be Dark Souls. But there's like a trivial nature to the combat. And it feels like those disposable throwaway mobile games where you go up to an enemy and you hit a couple buttons and they die. And everybody's sort of standing static. All of the enemies are just sort of kind of staying in place, kind of like a mobile game. And again, that could purely because this is an opener and they just want you to run through it very easy. Or maybe, you know, I can't imagine the combat staying like this throughout the game. I have trust that it's going to get a lot more difficult and the enemies are going to be a lot more intentional. Like, the enemies seem to lack a lot of volition. I like the ability wheel. Yeah, let me show you guys a picture here of what the ability wheel looks like. All right. Just so we can have a little bit of confidence in this game's depth. Let me just show you something here. Hang on one second. Excuse me. All right, here we go. Okay, so here's your ability wheel, and so we've got, you know, navigate, change target, select, close, cancel. Yeah, right up at the top. Right up at the top. It looks like you can. It looks like you can choose your character up here. Is she just playing with two other? Yeah, okay. Yeah. So you can change your characters here, it looks like. Maybe. Or you can just tell them what to attack. I can't tell. Have they shown exactly how this works at the top? Because we have the elf with the long hair and the green. She's over here on the right above my camera. And then we have Harding. She's right here. She's over here crouched down. So it looks like you can select and tell them who to attack, and maybe you can tell them both to attack. Party member control on left and right. Yeah, it looks like, oh, you can tell them what ability to use. Thank you. I wasn't looking at the middle yet. Thank you. I was just looking at the top. So it looks like here are Harding's 3 abilities. Here are your 3 abilities. And then here is, I don't know her name. Oh, that's the mage, right? Is that the mage? I think that might be the mage. Here are her 3 abilities. So I think this will make the combat feel significantly better. They should have shown us this, right? Like, I think, no, this is not in the gameplay video. This is a screenshot that somebody put in our Discord. Like, I think this would make a boss fight really, really fun to pause and be like, all right, Harding, you do this, and you do fade bolts, and I'm going to do this combo thing. Like, or yeah, it actually says combo opportunity, so it looks like you can do a combo here, you know, with one of them, or maybe you can direct them to do a combo. Like, this is what they should have shown us, because this looks like fun to me. What this does is it takes that simplistic combat, and instead of you just running up and swinging, you're actually breaking down the individual targets and choosing a hierarchy and a triage of importance. Like, well, who do I want to attack and when? And that can be really, really satisfying. we also need to see this type of combat in an environment that's more challenging. The opening 10 minutes isn't going to be challenging. We know this. We know that the opening of most games is going to be very free, very linear, and very straightforward. So I think this looks like there could be a lot of fun to be had here. I just would like to see this in action. Listen to what you said, Lono. Making a boss fight fun by pausing the fight. This is a style thing, though. This is a game genre thing where you take a second and you tell all the characters what to do. This was in Dragon Age Inquisition. This is something Dragon Age fans are going to want to do. They're going to want to have this ability to have that intentionality over the fight. Like, this is something Dragon Age fans are going to want to have control over. They're not going to want to just have a straight-up action game. So I don't know why you wouldn't have shown this off, because this right here would give your fans at least something to latch on to say, okay, and I'll be honest with you, when I played the original Dragon Age, I never used this, but I would like to use this. I think this would make the encounters enjoyable. Taking a second, having everybody, designating everybody's abilities, and then going back to the normal, like, iframes, dodging, swinging, melee, combos, whatever. Okay, everybody's abilities are ready again. Let's pull it up and let's do this. BioWare's done this for forever. It's not new. Yeah, I think this is fine. I understand why people might not like this, but I think it's totally fine. I think it can make a fight like that enjoyable. We do not want an auto-action team going. Well, they might give you that option. Straight-up action game is why 2 sucks, says Alex. I would imagine you could turn all that off and you could tell your combatants just to do whatever they want. There's probably an option to do that. This gives you the ability to communicate with your partners in battle like you would do if you were truly fighting something. Tactical mode is a huge part of the franchise. There is a lot of people comparing this to Origins, but not Inquisition. Standard AAA Western slop. I don't see evidence of that. I think that's a little harsh, but I think they should have shown more. I think they should have said, we're going to now show late stuff. Like, they should have showed late game combat, personally. People are saying it's nothing like Origins. Dragon Age fans are going to gobble this up, and they will show more. But this will appeal to folks who are new to the game. Yeah, I could see that angle, Britt. I could see people saying, hey, I'm kind of new to Dragon Age. This looks a lot more approachable. And then hopefully there's stuff here for the Dragon Age fans to enjoy. I think this is the challenge that all of these long-standing franchises they're facing. Okay? How do you iterate on your franchise enough to get new folks into the game? How do you do that without turning off your existing base? Like, how long has it been since the last Dragon Age came out? The concern would be, is the loyal audience to the Dragon Age franchise, is it big enough to make every decision for them? Or are you going to have to make some decisions for potential new consumers and new customers? Combat and art style is a really big turnoff for me. I actually think the combat and the art style is what makes me want to play it. I think it looks fun. I obviously would love it if it was co-op, right? I don't know if a game like this is ever co-op. Like, could my wife and I play this each on our own PlayStation? That would be really, really fun, but I think that might break the idea of the tactical control of, like, telling your party what to do. That you may feel like you lose that quality point. Rise of the Ronin is currently the best-selling Koei Tecmo title so far. Yeah, I told people it was a good game. I just thought it was a little long, and I thought performance and graphics were dated. Dragon Age was much more CRPG light. It's a bit colorful. It certainly has that Fortnite Wayfinder, like every game wants to be bright and colorful now. I get that. I get people maybe being turned off by that. It makes it feel arcade-ish. It makes it feel like a mobile game a little bit. But I think it's fine. The style of fantasy is not for me. Would I be rewarded for sticking to the franchise in this game is my question. I'm not sure what you mean. They will eventually show things that are going to appeal to the legacy fans like me, but you have to keep adding new players. I mean, I think that's a good attitude, Britt, but I also think they're shooting their shot a little off target right now. I think this should have been a 2-part video. They should have cut this in half, right? They should have shown the opening fights, showed that boss fight, and then showed how this crescendoed, and then they should have added like another 2 minutes like, hey, we also want you to see just how far combat or just where combat can go or blah, blah, blah. And then they should have shown us later, more challenging combat with somebody controlling, you know, the other 2 characters with you. I think that would have been a better decision. I feel like they're shooting a little off target here. It's like they're only targeting people who are probably unfamiliar with Dragon Age. People familiar with Dragon Age are going to watch this and be like, yeah, it's cool you got Solos at the end, but like the combat looks kind of not what I want. How do you like the previous games? I think the only one I played was Dragon Age Inquisition. I remember, I think I played it after Skyrim because I wanted something similar, and I don't know how long I played it. I feel like I played it for a while. Me and my friend would play it and like jump into party chat and talk. I can't remember how far I got though. Like a little montage of open world and general play. Yeah, something like that. I just think from a direction standpoint, I would have directed them and said, you know, you really should have shown us some late stage, you know, gameplay. These companies have to grow the customer base. Franchise fans will complain, but will always buy on day one. The developer needs new blood to buy into the world. Matt says, with so much time passed, making something true to form instead of trying to be something else disguised as Dragon Age. Well, part of me wonders, okay? I do sometimes think there are companies that are trend chasing, right? And it's not a genuine effort. But are you open to the possibility that these guys that made this game have been playing other games and thought we should incorporate some of the more modern flair and we should incorporate some of the things that make these games a little bit more exciting moment to moment to play? Like, you know what I mean? Do you feel like it's a genuine choice, or do you feel like they're just trend chasing? They're just trying to get the Fortnite generation in their game. Like, I don't know. I never want to jump to that conclusion to be like, well, I'm just going to presume the intention of the artist and think that they're just doing a trend chase. When this could be genuine, you have to remember that a lot of the developers making these games, they're actively playing games right now. They're being exposed to, you know, new styles, new choice, new art direction, new combat. Like, they're trying out different games, and they might say, hey, we should incorporate some of that in our game. I played this game or that game, and I really liked it, right? This is not trend chasing. Feels a bit like trend chasing. Seems like a trend so far. Like they did it in good faith. That's what I'm saying. Like, if I believe the best about them, I don't feel like this is just some trend chase that's disingenuous. It's like a lot of the people making these games have played games that might be influencing their decisions. You know, maybe they played something that they felt was more approachable. Maybe they played something where they felt like the action and the combat had a better level of fluidity and moment-to-moment action. I don't know. I'm just speaking sort of off the top of my head here. I'm not ready to judge this and say it's a trend chase when the artists and the developers behind it could be genuinely saying, we feel like this is a good direction for the franchise. How is this trend chasing when they did this in Dragon Age Inquisition? I don't know how. Aren't they just doing what they did in Inquisition but improved? So there are people in chat that think this is just an improvement on Dragon Age Inquisition. Anthem was kind of trend chasing, so I think it could be a valid concern. My struggle with calling Anthem a trend chase is that it was like built in 15 months. It was like they didn't even know what they were doing. I feel like I definitely think they were trying to chase the live service trend. That is true. Everything else about Anthem felt genuine though. Like the design of the combat and the combos and the javelins, that all felt like genuine game design. Is the 8 minutes from IGN, do they show us any more? Is there better stuff in here? Oh, that's Dragon Age Inquisition. So do you guys want to do a comparison? You guys want to do a quick comparison? Let's see. Yeah, when he slashed that stinking wood like 4 times, I was like, what the frick? Why wouldn't you just press a button and have him just do an animation of killing it? All right, let's scroll through here and see what we can see. All right, so here's the character. Let's see if we can get a little bit better quality here. This is old video, 720. So here's your tactical mode. Choosing what everybody's going to be doing. See, when I played this, I don't think I did this. I think I feel like I went more moment to moment. Here's moment to moment. Yeah, see, this feels like a convergence of like classic turn-based and moment to moment, like the way that she's interacting with the way he's interacting with the enemies. It feels very, very disconnected. It feels more like a classic RPG intersecting with moment to moment action. So it's more of a hybrid, and I definitely think the new game doesn't feel like a hybrid. It feels more like an action game. This feels like more of a darker fantasy. Yeah, I think the art direction of Inquisition is a little bit more darker. There's more of a there's like a gothic theme here. Yeah, let's watch this little interchange. Here we go. Some type of a freeze. Okay, and then a final eruption. You guys playing like an action game? Yeah, I think we need to see gameplay of Dragon Age The Veilguard that uses all of the stuff that we see in this screenshot. Like, we need to see this. This is what may or may not, appeal to people that might feel like, I want that classic, I'm controlling what everybody's doing combat feel, instead of just running around slashing people. This is in dark. I mean, Sven, I think your one screenshot there that opens up does look a little bit more dark, but look at the screenshot I have on screen. We've got bright purples and bright reds. It's a little bit more stylized. It doesn't have like a gritty, realism to it. It looks more cartoony. Like, this looks a little bit more like Saturday morning cartoon, and Dragon Age Inquisition felt a little bit more like Lord of the Rings movies. Does that make sense? Like, this feels more stylized and a little bit more cartoonish. Now, I'm not being critical of that choice. I don't mind that choice, but I could definitely see somebody doing a side-by-side comparison of the games and saying, one's a little bit more like a Disney or like a cartoonish version, when Dragon Age Inquisition felt a little bit more like something out of Lord of the Rings. It felt more like, oh yeah, that's a Middle Earth, that's a medieval like Gothic setting. I'm not throwing any shade anyway, because I think this is fine, but I could see somebody looking at this and feeling like, you guys really cartooned it up. It looks a little bit more arcadish, a little bit more like a mobile game, And I think this is accessible and approachable. I do. I think this is accessible and approachable, but I could see why somebody would look at this and say, it looks like a mobile game. It looks like an arcade game. It doesn't look like like the Dragon Age of old. The question is, are they doing that to make the game more enjoyable to encounter and to engage with? Like, it's very easy. You're like, okay, she can do this, she can do that, I'm going to do this, and you're back to the action. Or are they doing this to appeal to the generation that wants that more stylized, more Fortnite, arcadish action style game? It's hard to know. I definitely would agree if a long-standing Dragon Age fan compares this to Inquisition and they feel like the art style has sort of been a little bit I don't know what word to use. I just, instead of saying like diluted, I would just say stylized. It's a little bit more stylized and a little bit more cartoonish, which is bad or good depending on the player. I don't have a long-standing relationship with Dragon Age, so I watched today and just basically said, I would like to see late-stage combat. I want to see this. I want to see what this looks like in action. Is it fun, or does it feel like a mobile game? Like, is it cool, or is it chintzy and lame? Because the combat we saw was like the first 10 minutes. I don't expect that combat to be that impressive, if that makes sense. Now, I have another show planned for you guys. So do me a favor, smash that like button, guys. We could easily hit 300 likes right now. We could easily do it. And Ubisoft did a stream yesterday, and they revealed a bunch of new stuff. They revealed a brand new gameplay for... Where are all of the videos? Oh, those are live. Sorry, I clicked on the wrong thing. They revealed a bunch of new stuff from Assassin's Creed Shadows. Okay, so we're going to do that gameplay walkthrough. And then they also had brand new looks at Star Wars Outlaws. So I want to talk about this with Kirk. And I want to get the quality setting to look really good here. I'm going to leave the Ubisoft channel open, though. And then let's get the annotations off the screen. Okay. Okay. All right, let me get Kirk on the screen. All right, I gotta unmute so I can hear you. Okay, go ahead.
What's up, man?
What up? What up?
Pretty astute commentary on that Dragon Age coverage. I liked it.
Yeah. I'm trying to hear both sides. You know, it's hard when you're not a long-standing fan, but I want to have an ear to the people that are a long-standing fan that feel like, man, this feels like a huge departure.
I think you are articulating very well that this is kind of like that classic thing of you want to appeal to the base that's already there, that's been with you, but gosh, it'd be really nice if we could get a couple 100,000 more new players that have never touched it before, and so you try to appeal to that new audience, and it's inevitably going to spurn some of the people that, you know, are already in love with the franchise. It definitely, I think I notice a aesthetic change more than you do. Like, to me, some of the art style looks a lot more like almost like Fable 3 or something like that, in the way that the characters' faces look and stuff. And Fable 3 is kind of like a good comparison there, because that was a franchise that was kind of entrenched in what it was for the first and second iteration, and then they tried to evolve that formula, make it more modern, you know, more alike to like contemporary gaming experiences, and Fable 3 wasn't as regarded as highly as the first two. So it'll be interesting to see. I would expect it to still be in the Game of the Year conversation, just because I think that the media is just in love with Dragon Age as a property, and it's going to have that recency bias, and I can't imagine it being a bad game. Like, I mean, that we got to think, like, Stray was nominated for Game of the Year, so I think Dragon Age will be in that conversation regardless, but it'll be interesting to see if those longtime fans are satisfied when they get their hands on it and actually play it, especially if it's like a linear, you know, set piece type game that doesn't go as far into the go anywhere, do anything, make any choice that you want to type of gameplay experience, and it's more just about like telling this one story.
Yeah, and I also think that the last game came out 10 years ago, and so you can't discount internally, have the developers change in what they like and what they think is good. Like, it could be a combination of, we want to attract a new audience, but it's been a decade, so maybe a lot of the old guard's not there anymore. You know, maybe... You
can almost see that Anthem DNA in that gameplay that we saw, like that boss fight against the Pride Demon. Mm-hmm. You know, like, there's lights flashing everywhere. You know, they're throwing magic spells at him and stuff. Like, there's a little bit of that Anthem DNA there. So you have to wonder, like, how much of the team from a decade ago is still there that worked on Inquisition, and is that a good thing or a bad thing? Like, maybe this franchise is going to evolve in a way that the existing base of longtime fans aren't necessarily going to love, but it could be like a Wind Waker situation where everybody ridiculed that and said that wasn't what people wanted at the time, and then now it's a beloved classic. So you never really know when studios take like a big risk like this and involve an IP if it's going to pay off in the end.
For sure. And I also think we should have gotten some late game.
Oh, yeah.
gameplay.
Yeah. I can't believe that they just showed the intro to the game. Like, you have to know that's not going to go over well. Like, that there's a reason that, what we're about to talk about in the next stream, like, that Ubisoft is like, here's a point in the game, like, later. Like, here's a point in the game where you're on this planet and you're doing this, or, like, whatever. And it's like, there's a reason that for these showcases that the devs do that, and it's because the game shows better when they do that. So it was a very odd choice. It honestly makes me wonder, like, are they not ready? Like, is the beginning of the game what they have that is completely finished and the rest is like not? Like, I wonder if that's what it is, because otherwise why would you not show more of the game? Like, I'm not sold on Dragon Age The Veilguard coming out in 2024. I'm really not. We talked about that some with the Xbox stuff of like, why aren't they choosing a firm date? I think that criticism is just as valid here. Like, all we've heard is 2024, right? So I think this is just as much up in the air and ambiguous as those Xbox titles are, as far as like, is it going to get delayed out? And I don't think anybody would be mad if it got delayed out if it needs more time in the oven. I mean, I think people want this game to be good. They've waited 10 years. What's a couple more months?
Well, and they said that was like really early alpha footage, so more than likely they put that together a long time ago and were like, let's just get that ready for whenever marketing has the go button pressed. And yeah, and then BioWare Magic and Crunch, like, we know that they do that, so hopefully they did not do that again, because that obviously would be a concern. Because I remember when I saw this and it's like, oh, it's coming out in the fall, I was like, wait, what? I was like, we just finally saw it.
I didn't know that until you said it like 30 minutes ago. I was like, no way, this is coming out this year.
Yeah, when they showed that trailer during Xbox and it said that, I was like, wait, are you, how? Like, the fall just got really, really full.
There's definitely some warning signs. I'm expecting a show later this week or early next week where it's like Reforge Gaming, Dragon Age The Veilguard. I'm concerned, or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm expecting one of those at some point. Because it's. I will say, this has a wealth of a polar range of how this could turn out. Like, this could be the highest of highs. This game could literally win Game of the Year. Like, that is not out of reach. And it could also be like a huge disappointment and a flop. So it'll be interesting to see where this one goes. But there's a broad range of outcomes for this one, which means that we're all going to be glued to it until we see more of it. How do they not know that they didn't really show us enough for us to kind of confidently like have an assessment?
Well,
like, it's like if you're gonna do the thing and like have a show and it's like, this is the reveal, I would want you to kind of know. Like, we'll talk about Ubisoft. They did this, which is they knew you're gonna show up, you're gonna see our games, and you're gonna be like, that looks good, I'm excited about that, I'm confident about that. Right. And I don't think that EA did that today.
I think the concern would be, I'm not a Dragon Age guy, and even I said, can I see the gameplay where I switch players or control the other players? It's like, I'm not even a big Dragon Age guy, and I'm like, wait, I know you do that in Dragon Age. Can I see what that looks like? Because that one screenshot I showed, I was like, this looks like it could be a lot of fun, like really arcadish and fun and crazy, or it could be not. It could be really sort of mobile game.
I've got like my Dragon Age super fan friends like DMing me and being like, why is Solas here and doing this? And like, where's the Inquisitor? And why is Varric the one talking to him right now? And why is the voice acting weird? I'm like, oh no, like the longtime fans are maybe not gonna enjoy like this. Like, why are all the enemies redesigned? And so like, you and I are just like, oh, game looked fun, combat, action, like, and like, there's a whole wealth of lore and like history, and I mean, there's just basically 4 entries in this franchise already, at least in the modern era, to contend with. And this is a game that draws a lot, like, heavily on like everything you've ever done in this franchise is supposed to impact, the story of this game, going all the way back to Origins. So like, if they don't deliver on that, then that's a huge turn from the franchise in a way that like drastically diminishes like what it is, like what its value proposition is for all those fans, like what they're expecting from that. It'd be like if the next Baldur's Gate came out and it was like, oh, like you don't have companions in the same way anymore or something like that. Like we're talking about a major feature of this franchise that like is the selling point. It's kind of like that ongoing story and kind of how it goes back to certain things that have happened or certain choices that a past protagonist, the character as that protagonist, have choices they've made. And so, like, if they don't draw upon that and they just tell, like, a linear story that's like, yeah, screw all that, it doesn't really matter, like, we're just telling our own story now, it's for Gen Z or whatever, people are going to be pissed. Like, it's not going to go over well.
Yeah. People are saying showing alpha footage for a game that's less than 6 months away is a major red flag. The only reason I won't necessarily say it's a red flag just yet is all of that could have been prepared for something a while ago, and they wanted to use it. They're like, we spent all that time putting that together. I'm wondering if the name change is part of the problem. Like, did everything get punted downfield because it was like, well, we were supposed to maybe see that 6 months ago, but then they were internally, maybe, who knows what led to the name change. They were internally having a discussion about it, clearly. And so I think what we just saw, I think we were supposed to see that a while ago. I don't think this was supposed to be the debut. I think right now we should be looking at, developer deep dives, which if you look at the marketing, it's all squished together. Like they're doing something almost like every other week or something, aren't they? Does somebody have that schedule?
And that's a good point. Like, I think this, I don't know why EA doesn't do a show anymore, but the answer to that question for a couple of years now is basically like they didn't have enough in the pipeline. And I feel like if there was ever a year, sure, a lot of their properties are sports. And so like for you, that would have been probably like, I'm not going to watch that showcase now. So maybe that's why they did it. But I feel like this would have landed much better in the middle of an EA Play showcase like they used to do before, where you've got, like, think about, I know, Lono, like, you don't care about sports, but I know you feel like the rumble of the crowd of people that are like, freaking college football video game is back, baby. Like, there is a rabid, large population of people that are extremely excited about that game. And so, like, if they were ever going to come back and do their own show, I would think that this would be the year, like, to announce that, to announce this game, tell us more about whatever is in the works for Mass Effect. Like, literally just do, like, the developer thing where they're like, we're really trying to approach the game from, like, a standpoint of, how does the player feel when they're interacting with the certain characters in their party, all that stuff, where they show like them like working with the polygons in the software and everything, that stuff, like the early stuff. I think this would have been a good year to do all that. And if they throw this in there, like, I think it would have just been like a part of the full kind of dish that we're being served. I think on its own, it's kind of like, that's it. Like, where's more gameplay? Like, where's, like, I don't really think it. I think you feel like unsatisfied, like you feel like underserved with just the opening gameplay section of a game like this, and then they don't have like their own show or anything like else to get into.
According to this, their summer reveal schedule is they did the reveal trailer on the 9th. Today is the 15-minute plus gameplay reveal. They're also going to do Summer Game Fest first impressions. I don't know what that means. That's today sometime. And then on the 14th, they're going to do a Discord developer Q&A, and on the 18th, they're going to be the cover story of Game Informer. I actually used that artwork for this thumbnail. I found that and thought it looked great. So
that's going to be a great article to read. Yeah, that's going to tell us a lot, I think.
And then it says more to come all summer. So I think their goal, is they're trying to do that trickle effect marketing of little bit. The problem with that is that works for like an established game when you're trying to sort of reinvigorate the base. I know Destiny is very good at this. They sort of trickle their marketing. I don't think this is the game you trickle the marketing. I think you come out and hit everybody in the jaw and then maybe go into more detail later with dev deep dives and stuff. So if I was in charge of the marketing, I would have told them they're doing everything backwards. It's like you should have come out and just punched everybody square in the jaw with like a really, really great gameplay showcase. And then all this other stuff would have landed, I think, maybe a little bit better. Because if you get everybody excited with gameplay, then they're going to see your they're going to see your cinematic through that lens. They're going to see early gameplay or early story elements through that lens, but they didn't give people a lens of excitement. I think they did everything backwards. So that means it could be better, and there could be better stuff coming, or we all could be correct, and our instinct is that they shifted a little too far, and it's going to hurt the game and potentially then hurt the reception with the core audience.
Lono, remind me, who's making the Captain America Black Panther game? Who's the publisher of that?
Oh, I don't know. I forget.
Is that EA?
It might be. I can't remember now.
If that's EA, yeah, they should have done a show this year. I just don't think that this on its own is enough. But if we were talking about, yeah, that's a good start. Like, it looks promising. And then we're talking about, oh my God, in that Black Panther game, like, how about that gameplay? And then, you know, other people are talking about the college football and EAFC, and maybe we get a glimpse of, like, you know, I don't know, like one cutscene of Cal Kestis, you know, that there's going to be a third game in that trilogy or so. I just think that they could have really taken the conversation by the horns this Summer Game Fest. And
they're saying that's Skydance, not EA.
Okay.
Skydance is the publisher. Okay, thank you, chat. I'm going to quickly take my break, and then we're going to switch gears. Guys, if you haven't yet done so already, take a quick second and check the likes. Make sure you've given the video a thumbs up. It'll help this video find more people, and, you know, more people will come in and watch the gameplay and my commentary. We've met some great new folks today that are fans of Dragon Age, and you can chat with Kurt for a little bit. We are going to shift gears to talk about the Ubisoft. I'm going to let you guys know what I think about The Division, Assassin's Creed Shadows, and Star Wars. There's a lot to talk about from Ubisoft, and I'll be right back. We'll do that. Don't let Kurt cannibalize the show, all right? You guys keep talking Dragon Age.
I don't do that. I don't know why you... I literally talk about the most far-off topic on purpose.
I know you do. You do.
You're such a jerk.
No, it's not you. That's a common thing. Like, I used to do pre-shows with people, and I'd be like, stop talking. Stop. I was like, you guys are cannibalizing the show. Like, your reactions and your chemistry right now is like you're cannibalizing the show. So I'm always on guard for that. So, all right, I'll be right back.
Yeah, I think that's a good observation, Will Hancock. Is like, you know, it's almost like we need reminders that EA exists, because they really have only been about their sports franchises for a couple of years now. I mean, Dead Space Remake was them, but we don't really like think of that as being them. It seems like the last franchise that like really made a big splash for them was obviously the Jedi games, and it would have been nice to see what's going on with that. It'd be nice to see what DICE is doing. What are they working on? Is there another Battlefield game coming? Excuse me. Kirk, just don't breathe. I'm trying not to. I'm trying really hard. We can't talk about Skull and Bones, guys. That's literally in the presentation. Get P Turtle on the stream? Absolutely not. I'm glad I brought some of Jaffe's folks over here. That's great. What did Dave say? I'm trying to figure out what Clickbait Detective is responding to. Yeah, what they showed, Dave, looked very action heavy, especially like compared to going back and looking at Inquisition. I don't know if I necessarily dislike that. In fact, I would like that. I think what made me bounce off of Inquisition, because there really wasn't much to not like about it. It's a high fantasy or fantasy, whatever the correct terminology is. It almost has like strategy elements to it game, like you doing the political intrigue stuff with whatever that NPC is that's like part of your party. I can't remember what her name is. She wore like a yellow dress, and like there was stuff like at court, and you would send like troops out to like go do like certain quests and stuff for you, and you would parlay with other provinces to like form alliances and stuff. Like all that stuff was like super cool. And then like the combat was like very like, I would almost compare it to like Elder Scrolls Online or something. Like it was almost MMO adjacent. It was not super fluid. So if they put the combat that they just showed in Inquisition, I probably would have liked the Inquisition a lot more. I just hope that they haven't gutted all of those like additional game systems and like things that you could do in Inquisition and the type of game that won it Game of the Year in favor of a more like watered down linear set piece narrative experience, because that's not, I don't think that's what Dragon Age fans want. Like, that's not what they came to the franchise for. Even Dragon Age 2 like had its own elements that sort of branched out from that, narrow type of game design. So I hope that we just saw the intro of the game, because the intro of Inquisition was like kind of similar. Like, it was just like, go here, do this. But I don't know why they would just show that. Like, that doesn't seem like a smart move to me.
Yeah, intros don't really sell games because you're just getting somebody kind of into the pool, like.
Yeah,
I think that's the problem.
I was saying that they're remarking that the combat looked very action heavy compared to Inquisition, and I was saying, well, if that had been in Inquisition, I probably would have liked Inquisition a lot more. But the things that won Inquisition Game of the Year that I also really liked about it was like that you're like back at court, and you're like, I'm gonna send my agents to parley like with this other province and then like form an alliance, and also I'm gonna send them out to like steal this contraband and whatever, and then I'm actually gonna go out and slay this dragon. And so like you had like this like political intrigue and like questing and like fantasy elements, and there was like so much going on that you could engage with at any one time, and not just like going out with your party and doing something. And so like I would have loved action combat in addition to that. I hope that they haven't hollowed out all those additional like systems and things that you can enjoy in favor of a more action, like narrow type of game. Like, I hope that they just kind of put that action combat in that type of game, but we didn't get to see that today, so we don't know like what type of game it actually is.
They did show us a lot of dialogue choices and people liking, approving, or disliking things. So I think that I think they were at least letting us know, hey, that element is still going to be here. We'll see if it's got the depth or if it's just all that superficial stuff that doesn't really, translate.
It had a weird like Immortals of Avium feel to it, almost.
Whoops, I did not mean to send
I don't know why.
2 notifications like that. All right, guys, I'm going to spam a link in chat. That's where we're headed. Make sure and smash the like button before we get out of here. We had a great turnout for this showcase of gameplay. Let's try to get like 13 more likes. We'll hit 300. I'm going to gift the members. Thank you. I'm going to gift the members that I owe you guys when we get over there. So click that link in chat. I'll also redirect you.
They tried to get me to talk about Skull and Bones. I didn't do it. Lono.
Good man. Stay strong. All right, here we go. Thanks so much for checking out this video. We are sitting down. You're getting 2 shows like this week. A late day show with Kirk from What's New Video Games. Be sure to check him out. He's linked below in the description. And we wanted to break down the Ubisoft Forward. I was sort of done. I was like, okay, I've covered so many showcases. I've been sitting in the chair for a while. So I shut down yesterday afterwards after some brief thoughts. But we wanted to walk through this. There were Star Wars Outlaws, AC Shadows, Skull and Bones. Division did something afterwards that we're actually going to talk about. So if you want to know my thoughts on that as somebody who's got a long history with Division, I'm going to end the previous stream. We watched Dragon Age The Veilguard. If you want to see my reaction and breakdown of that gameplay, we kind of got into it. If you want to see that, go check out that video. I'm going to end that and bring people over with a redirect. So, Kirk, the first thing I want to do, I obviously want to